So here we are at the whiteboard, and we are going to learn how to write major and minor scales in the context of your level 8 exam. So here are the steps. Step 1 is to first figure out the key signature, or if you have to write a scale without key signatures, you can identify the accidentals and write them on the side of your page so you don't forget. Then the next thing we have to do is write the first note, and then after that we just write in stepwise motion up to the final note of the scale, which now might not be the tonic. And then if the question says write ascending and descending, you can come all the way back down. And remember, in a melodic minor scale, for sure you have to write ascending and descending because the scale is different on either side. So first we are going to write an E major scale from supertonic to supertonic, and then after that we are going to look at a minor melodic scale, because in level 8 minor melodic scales tend to be the trickiest for students, because where the 6th and 7th are tends to move around. Now that we don't start on the tonic anymore, it might surprise you where the leading tone and submediant end up on the page, so we're going to look at that. But let's start with that first question. Let's write an E major scale from supertonic to supertonic. And in this case, we will use a key signature. So step 1 is to first figure out the key signature. Back in level 5, a long time ago, we learned that E major has 4 sharps. Father Charles goes down. That's step 1. Now step 2 is to write the first note. So the question is an E major scale from supertonic to supertonic. So the first note is the supertonic. Now, supertonic means 2. We learned that in level 6. What is scale degree 2 in an E major scale? The second note of an E major scale is F sharp. So the first note that we are going to write is F sharp. Then the next thing we get to do is write all the way up to the next F sharp. And in this case, I will just go ascending. I'm not going to bother descending. So F sharp, stepwise motion up, and I'm leaving enough space in between all the notes so that my examiner can read them neatly without struggling. And there we go. That's pretty easy. For the next question, let's write a B flat melodic minor scale. We're going to look really carefully at this scale because a lot of students, again, get tangled up while writing melodic scales on this level 8 exam. We'll write a B flat minor melodic scale from dominant to dominant. So step 1 is to figure out the key signature. I know that B flat minor's key signature is the same as D flat major, which has 5 flats. Battle ends and down goes. Now the next step is to write the first note. Now the question says B flat melodic minor from dominant to dominant. And in level 5, we learned that dominant means scale degree 5. So what's the 5th note of B flat minor? It's F. So F is going to be our first note. So here I'm writing the first note, that's step 2. And now I'm going to write all the way up to F and all the way back down. I'm going to write ascending and descending because it's a melodic minor scale. Okay, so I've written from the dominant of B flat minor all the way up to the next dominant of B flat minor. and we're ending on the dominant of B flat minor again. So that would be scale degree 5, scale degree 5, and scale degree 5 again. Now, right now, on this whiteboard, this is actually a B flat minor natural scale. It's not melodic until we raise the 6th and 7th by 1 semitone going up and put them back to normal on the way down. Now, here's where I need you to pay attention. Typically, when you wrote a melodic minor scale in the past grades, you would locate the 6th and 7th scale degree by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. Here they are. But that's not right anymore because we've started on a note that isn't the tonic. Here, we've started on the dominant. So actually, scale degree 6th and 7th are these two right here. This is scale degree 5, and then this is 6. And this is scale degree 7. That looks strange to us because we're used to them being over here, but now the whole scale has moved and all the scale degrees have shifted. So scale degree 6 and 7 is here, and scale degree 6 and 7 is there, right? Because B flat is our real tonic. That's the actual tonic. So of course, scale degree 7 comes before that. Now that we understand that, we're ready to add in the accidentals. So ascending melodic minor, we have to raise the 6th and 7th. So right now, this is a G flat. So we can raise that G flat by 1 semitone by writing a natural. And this is A flat. We need to raise that by 1 semitone, and I can do that by adding a natural. And over here, we have to put them back to normal. And there we go. So that's a B flat minor melodic scale, and look at how strange that looks. We're not used to seeing, I know I've said this, we are not used to seeing these accidentals here, this low in the scale. So level 8 scales again are pretty easy, but if you're asked to write a melodic minor scale on your level 8 exam, you need to wake up your brain and really focus. And if it helps you to write out all the scale degrees in order to figure out where the 6th and 7th actually are, then you should take the time to do that. It's better than risk looking silly and making the mediant and the subdominant a raised note. That doesn't make any sense. And now before we finish, we are going to take a quick look at the alto and tenor clef. And here on the whiteboard, I am going to draw out a full C sharp major key signature and a full C flat major key signature so that you can properly see the orientation of the sharps and flats next to these new clefs that we've learned. But before that, let's do a tiny mini tutorial on just how to draw these things. So I'm going to show you the steps that I take in order to draw a neat, tidy, and respectable alto and tenor clef. So I'm going to start with the alto clef over here. And the first thing I'm going to do is take a ruler and draw 3 lines, like 3 bar lines really close to each other, like this. And I highly recommend you bring a ruler to your exam. So there's the first 3 lines, and this back space over here I'm going to fill in black, or in this case blue, I suppose. That's the first thing I do. Now the second thing I do to write an alto clef is I draw the little arrow we talked about back over at the piano where it's shown where middle C is. So in this case, because we're drawing the alto clef, middle C is in the middle. So I'm going to draw a little arrow here. And the last thing I'm going to do is draw 2 C's coming out of that arrow, like this. Now, man, I screwed up. I'm sitting farther away from the whiteboard than you might suppose by watching this on video. So there's a reasonable alto clef, and I'm going to quickly draw another one down here where we're going to put the flats. So again, 3 lines, The back two lines get filled in. Then we have an arrow showing us where middle C is, and two gigantic C's. Now the same thing happens for the tenor clef, since they literally look the same, but the tenor clef sits one line higher on the staff. And this is to, because they're tenor singers, we need to create more space in the lower registers for the tenors to sing. So middle C is going to sit higher. In this case, middle C is going to sit on this line. So we're going to do the same thing, except our three lines, which are approximately an octave long, are going to sit a little higher. We're still going to fill out the back. There's our three lines. And we fill out the back. And now, because it's a tenor clef, middle C is here. So we're going to draw our arrow there, and then our two gigantic C's coming out from there. That one looks strange. So here's two alto clefs, and here's two tenor clefs. Now we are going to write our C sharp major key signature and our C flat major key signature beside these. So you can at least see how you are supposed to write key signatures on your exam, because you will certainly be asked to write scales in a C clef. And just like what we just did, it may or may not start on the tonic. It doesn't matter if you are asked to write modes in the C clef, because remember, when we write modes, we do not use key signatures, which you will learn about in the modes unit. So let's get started. Let's write a C sharp major key signature in the alto clef. Ready? This is like level 5 again. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. C sharp major has 7 sharps. The first one is F for father. And in this case, we are going to use this F sharp above middle C here. Father Charles, then we zigzag down to middle C, and then Father Charles goes. We're going to use the upper G line up here. Father Charles goes down. This space above the middle line in the alto clef is C. Father Charles goes down, and A happens to be the second lowest line in the alto clef. Father Charles goes down and ends. E sharp, battle. This space is B. So there's a C sharp major key signature in the alto clef. Now it's not too different from the C sharp major key signature in the treble clef. In fact, to make this a C sharp major key signature in the treble clef, all you would have to do is elevate those sharps by one step. Right? If that F sharp was on that line and everything moved up by a step, you would think you were in the treble clef. In fact, I've met people who read alto clef by pretending it's in the treble clef and then transposing everything down a step in their head. I don't do that personally. I don't have to read alto clef very often, but when I do, I just know that the middle line is middle C. But maybe that's one way that will help you succeed on your level 8 exam. If you have to write sharps in the alto clef, you can write them as if you're in the treble clef and then move them a step down. Now let's write a C flat major key signature in the alto clef as well. So it's like we're in level 5, battle ends and down goes Charles' father. We have 7 flats to deal with, and the first one is B flat. In the alto clef, we're going to start with B flat here. So we have battle ends and down right above middle C, battle ends and down goes. Fourth down from C is G, battle ends and down goes Charles' There's the middle line is C, battle ends, and down goes Charles, father. The lowest line happens to be an F flat. So there's a key signature, a C flat major key signature in the alto clef, and it zigzags down. Pretty standard as long as you know where to start. Now let's move over to sharps in the tenor clef. Now over at the piano, I warned you that this was the tricky one, or at least this is the one that screws me up most of the time, because to me, a piano player, it looks upside down when we write it. So if we are going to write a C sharp major key signature in the tenor clef, we are going to start with a low F sharp and zigzag up, which contradicts everything, contradicts the wrist motion you've developed from writing key signatures 100 times over. So where do we start? The tenor clef features the second lowest, the second highest line as middle C, so a fifth down from C is F here. So father, F sharp goes there. So we start very low. Father Charles, there's the C sharp, goes a step above F, down, and ends, battle. So there's our C sharp major key signature, all 7 sharps presented in the tenor clef. And this is the only time you will be writing sharps in an ascending fashion in a key signature. See, it's already different. It looks different than what we've done before. So you have to know you're finding the lowest F sharp on the staff and you're going to zigzag upwards. Don't get it confused with this thing. This zigzags, but there is a row of 3 in the middle, right? But this one really truly just zigzags up like the flats. And finally, let's write a C flat major key signature in the tenor clef as well. This one is easy. It's a lot like what we are used to doing. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father. B flat is here. We start high, battle ends. There's middle C, a third up from C is E flat. Battle ends, and down goes Charles' father. That F flat, which I wrote a little high, is a fifth below middle C. So these are all the key signatures in the C-clefs, the new clefs that you've learned for your level 8 exam. I said it before, but I will say it again. You have to know these really well. You will be asked on the scales question to identify scales written in the C-clefs or write scales in the C-clefs that do not start on the tonic, and use key signatures in the C-clefs. If you're on the modes unit, these key signatures don't matter because modes don't use key signatures, but you still may be asked to write a mode in the C-clef. So you at least have to know how to read them. The middle line of the alto clef is middle C, and the second highest line in the tenor clef is middle C. And if that's too much to worry about, just wherever the arrow is, that is where middle C is going to be. So if you want to practice these skills further, you can go to my website classicalcontextonline and you can download the free scales and mode worksheets that I've created, and you will be able to write scales in the C-clefs and practice writing out your key signatures.